Hello everyone, this is Dr. Srujan. I'm a practicing cosmetic dentist and your mentor for the day. And the topic which we are going to learn today is polymerization shrinkage in composites. And the basic topic is the factors affecting the polymerization shrinkage. So today I am going to further break down this topic for you from this amazing book of Mind Maps and Notes by Medi. So if you don't have this book, go ahead, get it from Amazon, Flipkart, or the official site of Medi. This is going to be a lifesaver for you. So before we start the actual topic, let us quickly understand what polymerization shrinkage actually means. Okay, so let us consider this purple circle as a composite resin and the small red dots inside of that as the key principal monomers. So whenever we are going to polymerize any composite resin or whenever we are going to light cure our composite, these individual monomers are going to combine together to form a rigid polymer network. Because of this process, the distance between monomers is going to reduce, causing an apparent reduction in size. This is basically polymerization shrinkage. Now let us look at some of the effects what polymerization shrinkage is going to cause. First, we have the marginal gap, which is basically a gap formation between the enamel or dentine and the composite. This is going to happen because the composite is going to contract and that will create a gap between the tooth and composite. Second, we have white line formation, which is basically a white chalky appearance which is present at the enamel and composite interface. Okay, and the third one we have is cusp fracture. Now, if the composite is bonded very firmly to the tooth surface, when the composite is going to contract, it is going to pull the cusp along with it, which is going to lead to crack formation or even fracture. So these are some of the effects of polymerization shrinkage. Now let us start with the factors which affect polymerization shrinkage. The first one we have is cavity, right? So a lot of factors about the cavity formation are going to directly or indirectly affect the polymerization shrinkage. The first subtopic or subpoint we have is the form or design of the cavity. Now, if the cavity is going to be bigger in size, that means we'll have a bigger volumetric polymerization shrinkage. Second, we have is the configuration or C factor. Let us understand what C factor basically means. So C factor is nothing but the ratio between bonded and unbonded surfaces. And a higher C factor is going to mean that we are going to have a greater shrinkage stress. So let's see how we can prevent this. The first point is changing the cavity configuration, which is basically having a cavity in such a way that the ratio of bonded to unbonded surfaces is going to be in our favor. Secondly, we can change the increments in which we are going to place the composites. By using the oblique incremental technique, we are going to cause a enhanced degree of cure, which is going to help us avoid polymerization stress. Other than that, what we can do is called as bonded base technique. In this, we are going to place RMGI. Now, RMGI stands for resin modified glass ionomer cement. So we can place RMGI at the base of the cavity. With this, we are going to modify or we are going to alter the ratio of bonded to unbonded surfaces so that it is favorable for our prognosis. And the last point in cavity is the depth of cavity. Now, a deeper cavity is going to cause a reduced stress relief. So the deeper the cavity, we are going to have greater shrinkage stress. The second point we have is substrate. Now, a substrate means nothing but the surface to which a composite is going to be bonded. Now, here we are going to consider repair of composite or repair of a old restoration. Like we know, there are two different phases of any composite restoration. First being the pre-gel phase, which is basically early stages of polymerization. Now, in this pre-gel phase, composite is going to compensate for the polymerization shrinkage. Why? Because it is not completely polymerized and it still has some amount of flow. Second is the post-gel phase, in which the composite becomes rigid, not just rigid but also elastic. Now, To compensate for the polymerization shrinkage stress in the post-gel phase, we can implement use of bulk fill composites which are incorporated with glass fillers. Other than that, the factors which we need to keep in mind are the volume of composite and composition of a composite. The third factor affecting the polymerization shrinkage is the resin monomer. Now, the first point is molecular weight. Now, a greater molecular weight of any resin monomer is going to cause a greater shrinkage. So you need to keep in mind about that. Second is the amount. Now the amount here talking about fillers is going to give us a lower shrinkage. So any composite with higher amounts of filler is going to give us lower shrinkage. And third obviously is the functionality. Coming to the fourth factor, we have elastic bonding concept. Now, like we already studied, higher filler content is going to reduce our polymerization shrinkage. We also have something which is stretching of viscous intermediate layer. This is nothing but a process in which elongation or deformation of any uncured composite or uncured resin happens. Now, this is going to relieve the polymerization shrinkage stress of our composite restoration. The fifth factor we have is incorporation of a stress absorbing layer with low elastic liners. Now, here we are going to place low elastic intermediary layers between composite layers of high modulus of elasticity. This is going to absorb our shrinkage stress. These are flexible and can be something like a flowable composite which can be used as liners. Now coming to the sixth factor, which is bonding conditions or surface treatment or surface conditioning. So the first and second we have is etch and rinse technique plus adhesive and self etch and selective etch techniques. So these are basically different techniques meant to be incorporated or used at different conditions. So etch and rinse is going to be the conventional technique which we use. Self etch is basically incorporated for surface treatment of dentine, whereas selective etching technique is a technique where only enamel is etched. Now, whenever we etch any tooth surface, we are going to cause micromechanical retention, which is going to give us greater resistance to polymerization shrinkage stress. The third point we have is cavity finish. Now, whenever we are going to have a well finished cavity, we are going to have a uniform bonding surface, which is going to cause very low polymerization shrinkage stress. And the fourth point we have is presence of contaminants. Now, these contaminants can be blood, saliva, moisture, or anything else. The important point we need to understand is in presence of these contaminants, resin is not going to entirely penetrate into the tooth surface. This is going to cause high polymerization shrinkage stress. The last point we have is application and light cure methods. So we have already studied that how the type of composite is going to affect our shrinkage stress. We need to look for the molecular weight and amount of fillers. Second we have is incremental or bulk application. So we always prefer incremental application of composite, and the increment should be equal to or less than 2 mm. With this, we are going to relieve the polymerization shrinkage stress step by step. Third, we have is use of flowable liner, which again we have already discussed. The last point we have here is the light cure method or the method of polymerization. So there are three basic points which we need to understand about light curing: the type of light curing, the duration, and the intensity. So let us understand this in detail. So let us start with the duration of light curing. Basically, a greater duration is going to give us a greater amount of polymerization shrinkage stress. Now, the greater duration is not just the amount of time for which the light is exposed, but the duration which is required by your light cure unit for the entire degree of conversion of monomer into polymer. So you need to have a good light cure unit which is going to give a adequate degree of conversion in specific amount of time. Next, we have the intensity of our light cure unit. A higher intensity is going to give us rapid polymerization, which is going to cause greater polymerization stress, which brings us to the type of light cure we should be using. Now, the ideal type of light curing method we should use is either soft start, ramped, or pulse curing. This is going to provide the minimum amount of polymerization shrinkage possible. Another point I would like to mention here is that the polymerization shrinkage occurs in the direction in which the light source is applied. Whenever we are going to cure composite in a proximal box, that is for class 2 cavity, we should apply the light source from both buccal as well as lingual side to ensure we have achieved complete polymerization. Now here, the diagram on the left demonstrates the depth of curing. So, till a distance of 2 mm, 50% of the penetration of light is observed. That's why whenever you do incremental placement, your size of increment should not exceed 2 mm. Also, as the distance between light source and the tooth increases, polymerization decreases. So to ensure complete polymerization, you have to hold the light source as close as possible to the tooth. So let us quickly solve a question. And the question is, what are the components of polymerization shrinkage in composite restoration? Which basically means what are the effects. So we studied that there are three basic effects, and they are cusp fracture, white line, and marginal gap. So what you see here on your screen is a flashcard, and this is going to be very helpful for your revision, especially right before your exams. And now coming to an MCQ question. What is the approximate stress caused by polymerization contraction of composite? So here 15 and 30 megapascal seems like a lot of stress, so that might not be the right option, but the correct answer here is 5 megapascals, and let us go through the explanation for this. So polymerization contraction of composite resin causes approximately 5 megapascal of stress, and this is a significant amount which can create clinical problems like marginal gaps, white lines, or even cusp fractures if not treated. Here I would like to mention that in order to get access to more of such mind maps, notes, videos, flashcards, and MCQs, go ahead and download the official app of Medi Study Go. Also, I would strongly suggest you to take a look at the official YouTube channel of Medi Study Go, where a lot of informative videos are regularly posted aiming to help dental students. If you like this video, please hit the like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much.